From fireworks being thrown at police in Seattle to cops getting beaten on the Brooklyn Bridge, it's hard not to sympathize with President Trump's instinct to send in federal officers to restore order to America's cities.
The violence, chaos, and anarchy in Portland is unacceptable.
We will continue to take the appropriate action to protect our facilities and our law enforcement officers.
It's equally hard to disagree that other than protecting federal property, Trump should let these smug city leaders stew in their own juices, especially when they try to blame him for the violence.
Before the federal troops got here, violence was way down, vandalism was way down. They injured nonviolent demonstrators, and the whole thing blew up again like a powder keg.
From my point of view, this would be yet another example of illegal and unconstitutional actions by the president.
But beyond the serious matter of civil order breaking down, something equally sad is happening. Cities like New York are losing their lifeblood, or as jazz club owner Spike Wilner puts it, the thing that made New York, New York is missing. What's it like now? It's very tense. People are anxious and angry.
Yes, social distancing is good to stop the spread of COVID, but we know that isolation is bad for almost any other disease you can name out there. Depression, domestic violence, heart disease, all these things are worse, substance misuse.
Outside wartime, with bombardments reducing blocks to rubble, I'm hard put to think of any precedent to what's happening to these U.S. cities. The enforced closures and isolation from the pandemic were bad enough.
Good, navigate the obstacles, go around.
But the endless protests, with their instinct to violence and the continuing sense of dread, have broken the spirit in many cities. During New York's financial crisis in the 1970s, the Daily News ran a famous headline about then-President Gerald Ford. It read, "Ford to City, drop dead." This is today's update. Progressives to America's cities, drop dead. Most of the people living and working in these cities are liberal. Today, they are being sold out by progressive politicians and activists who are oblivious to their lives.
Not acceptable in my neighborhood, and it shouldn't be acceptable in our city.
Daily protests are organized by trained professionals. Demonstrating is their job. Progressive prosecutors refuse to prosecute. Cops are holding back because progressive mayors and governors don't have their backs. This week, Governor Andrew Cuomo announced no booze can be sold without food.
We don't want to do lunch. We don't want to do dinner. We don't want to be a restaurant. We're a brewery. We want to be a brewery.
The progressive ruin of cities inhabited by liberals is a significant political event. And while it's doubtful many will check off for Donald Trump in November, their alternative is Joe Biden, who said this week, "There is no reason for the president to send federal troops into a city where people are demanding change peacefully and respectfully." What city is this man looking at?